Hey my friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another process video. This is going to be a 12 by 12 layout in my son's album today. So I have my We Are Memories tray from the project cart, which I keep bringing it up because, you know what, I didn't think I needed it, but I'm so glad I bought it. It's basically a rolling cart with a little bar for each tray. It comes with 6 trays, and it is great for all those different projects that you have. So highly recommend. But here's what I'm working on. I have these 4 photos of my son and my daughter when they were itty bitty. And I've already documented this in my daughter's layout. So now I'm working on my son's, and now I'm at the same point, even though I did hers a long time ago. And yeah, so I'm going to use the same products that I used for that layout for his, because why reinvent the wheel if it already worked the first time, right? So I have some really old, you guys are going to be shocked, wild asparagus. How many of you scrapbookers have been scrapbooking for as long as I have? It's 22 years now for me. And remember wild asparagus. This is by My Mind's Eye. This was back in 2006. I went to the Creative Keepsakes University, went nuts when I saw this. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Everything coordinates because, like I said, they were just coming out finally with actual collections. Basic Gray was doing it, My Mind's Eye, Chatterbox, and I bought it all up. Now here's the problem that I have, why I've never used it except for my daughter's layout. And that is because it is distressed. You don't find distressed collections anymore, right? We just don't see it. Even though we distress maybe the edges, we don't see distressed paper. But that was huge back in the day of 2006. And so it's very hard for me to kind of go, you know, when I went through my collection, or when I was creating my daughter's layout, I went through every single thing that I had, trying to find things that matched. And the only thing that I had was this sticker. Whoops, I have another one of these. Besides cardstock, a sticker sheet. This was the only thing that I could get. The blues matched perfectly, the reds, and that was it. Even the greens, actually. So it was hard. It's not a whole lot of embellishments, but I made it work, and I actually loved the way how it turned out. So I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I'm going to use up these products that I have, knowing that I know what products go well with this collection. I am just going to stick with it and just roll with it and get it used up. So on hers, I remember using, I think, oh no, I cut them apart of what words worked well with hers. Obviously I only bought one of those at the time. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to cut which ones I think will work with this one, that color coordinate with this collection. And that's what I'm gonna do. So let's go ahead and put you on fast forward and let's get started. Oh, one thing I wanna add is his layout will be a little bit different than hers, and that is because I'm not going to copy it exactly how it was for hers, because I don't want to cut into new scraps or cut into another 12 by 12 paper. I'm just going to use the scraps that I already had and make some adjustments to create his layout. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my friends, I'm just going to warn you, I may be a little tongue-tied because it is Sunday and I go back to work tomorrow. So I have edited 3 videos and I'm finally doing my 3rd voiceover for the day. So I feel like, oh my gosh, do I even have it into me to talk anymore? Okay, but let's go ahead and get started on what I'm going to do. Now, I know that the video where I was live for a little bit, I talked about how I wanted to pretty much kind of make it like my daughter's, except for there's going to be a couple of papers that I'm going to switch. So in the original layout, the taupe cardstock that you see there was the actual base, like a 8 by 8 square, and that housed the photos. But I wanted to really try to use up my scraps, and I decided, okay, I'll use the polka dot instead, and I'll just use that taupe paper in place, and that polka dot paper will then house my photos. So that's why you see me kind of putting everything down. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of curious. Leave me a comment below if you feel this way. I know sometimes when I work at something or when I'm working on a project and I'm looking at it and I'm looking at it at always at the same view, right? I'm looking down, I'm kind of standing over it. Sometimes I need to get a different perspective and I'll take a picture because I just am indecisive. I'm not sure yet if I like it or not. This was one of those times where I looked at this and thought, I don't like it. I want it to look exactly, like my daughter's as far as where the papers go. But looking at it now on this screen, I have to say, I wish I would have kept with my gut because I ended up having to cut a brand new another piece of paper where I would have that was a 12 by 12. It's the only one left in my stash, and I actually messed it up. And you'll see that here. It's because I didn't uh, measure right. I measured right. I just didn't measure it right on my trimmer. So, but you see me kind of messing with those scraps going, well, what if I map my photos instead of having a square, another square as the base? Because now I'm thinking, I don't want to try to cut into this other page that I have. It's the last one that I have, which isn't a big deal because you just heard me say how I want to use up these, not really a collection, but these papers that go together for the simple fact that I don't have anything that goes and matches with them. Uh, so I ended up doing it anyways, and I'm just gonna just let it go, right, Desiree? Just let it go. All right, so what I did was because I cut the polka dot paper like I did, I needed it for the full 12 by 12. So what did I do? I put it together like it was a puzzle, used some washi tape, and you won't even know that there is a cut there because I'm going to cover it all up. All right, so there is that blue, it's like a robin eggs blue that I trimmed as a square, and that's where I messed it up. As you can tell, I'm like, oh no, it's too small. It was by literally, I think, 2 centimeters smaller than my original one, and now the photos don't have any room to breathe. Like there's no frame to go around it. And I've already trimmed down those photos as much as I have, and I can't go truly any further. So I end up making it work. A little bit of my daughter's arm is kind of cut off. You can see where I've, also cut my son, a side of him, and it doesn't look bad. Even like the hair, like I cut, the tops of his head, it doesn't look bad. But I made it work, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue everything down. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some embellishments. Now, like I said, I don't have a lot that matches this. So I picked the circle. In my daughter's layout, I actually used those rectangles that have words on them. I thought about using this one by Jenny Bolin, but decided against it. I thought, you know what, instead of trying to make it look like my daughter's, this is where I can have the base of it to look like hers, but then I'm now going to add different embellishments and place them differently. So on this Jenny Bolin layout, I don't have anything from that collection. I don't even know what collection it goes with, but it works with this one, so I'm definitely going to use it for this one. And it had these sticker buttons, which are adorable. And I'm not much of a sewer, but I have to say I love sticker buttons. Why? It's flat. I'm not a big dimensional girl on my albums, and that is because I try to pack in as many layouts as I can in one album, because I don't want to give my kids, 100 albums. Go, here you go. I do try to keep it to where I'm hoping I get it under 15. Like I'm hoping it's going to be 12 or 13, and that will house all of their from the day they were born till they were 18. And then if they still want me to continue doing this, I will, of course, with whatever photos that they give me. All right, so I then place those up at the top, and I will add some thread here in a little bit. But I also wanted to use those tabs. I found a few phrases that worked. Home is where the heart is, and I thought the other one was, I think the other one is oh goodness, because I always say that to my kids, like, oh my goodness, you're so cute, or you make me laugh. And so it's just a phrase that's something I use all the time, that when my son sees that, he's going to remember that, oh yeah, mom says that all the time. Everything's oh goodness. And then I'm going to put the same title as I did for my daughters. I'm going to put best friends, because like I said earlier, why reinvent the wheel when it already worked? And for the comparison of the layouts. Okay, I thought I'd pop on here and just kind of show you my daughter's layout and my son's. Very subtle differences. I'm actually kind of seeing a little things that are different, that I thought this paper went under the dotted paper, which I did on this one. It did not. It went over. Not a big deal. Remember that cut where I wanted to piece it all back together and I did it with washi tape? Yeah, you can't even tell that I cut that paper at all because I hid it. And yes, the measurements were kind of messed up, but I fixed that. And I have to say, overall, the only thing I do need to do off camera is I am going to go ahead and stitch those up. And that is the layout, guys. I really do like it. Like I said, it already worked the first time. Why not do it for the second time? All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I do hope that you enjoyed this layout. If you did, if you don't mind giving me a thumbs up, I really appreciate it. And if you are new to my channel, I do hope you consider subscribing. I would love to have you here. All right, everybody, you all have an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.